Welcome back to another episode of the Book of Boba Fett Breakdown. This week, we're actually going to be combining two episodes, Chapter 3 and Chapter 4. We kind of ran out of time last week, and it was kind of a busy week, actually, because I had an 11-hour day on the day we normally record. Um, but of course, with me is Alex, the Big Smooth. What's up?
Heyo.
And Ryan, what's up, man?
How's it going, everybody? The Book of Boring Fett.
You okay? We're gonna have to talk or something because
Well, that's what the whole podcast is about.
oh my god. So, real quick, chapter 3, Alex, you got a little synopsis?
I can't find a synopsis. I'm going to just try and freestyle it and keep it somewhat concise. Let's see. Chapter 3, I think, starts us in a bit of a flashback. I don't remember too much of the flashback, but I do know this is the episode where the Tusken Raiders get waxed, right? And he feels all sad about it. I think that might have been towards the end. But anyway, you guys have seen it if you're listening to this. Tusken Raiders get waxed. Boba's not happy. It was at least made to look like it was part of the gang that he had the altercation with in the Tashi Station bar earlier in the season. We also, I think it started with the moisture dealer. He wasn't a moisture farmer, but he sells the water, was complaining to Boba Fett that they're thugs stealing his water. Boba, goes to resolve this, and turns out that this guy is just gouging them for water. And it's this gang of another podcast I was listening to called the Mighty Morphin Tatooine Rangers. But just these young kids who have droid body mods. And so Boba basically says, you're selling your water for too much, and asks the kids if they want a job. So they end up basically becoming part of his gang or his crew or whatever, working for Boba. Gave the guy some money for the water they took and said, forget you and your high prices. You need to do better. So he takes his gang back, and then we get the flashback with the Tuskens getting iced. He's interrupted from his Bacta tank sleep by Black Chrysanthemum, comes in to try and kill him. Black Chrysanthemum could not be taken down. It took Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, the Gamorrean guards, and the Mighty Morphin Tatooine Rangers, the cyborg kids, whatever we want to call those guys, to get him down into the Sarlacc pit, subdued. The Hutts come and own up to the fact that they tried to have Boba killed. They offer a baby Rancor as a peace offering, and basically cut ties with Black Chrysanthemum. I think they also gave Black Chrysanthemum to Boba. The baby Rancor is trained by the one and only Danny Trejo. This is his cameo in the show. Boba gives Black Chrysanthemum his freedom, and he just kind of runs away into the Tatooine desert. We get a moment with Boba and Danny and the Rancor, and they're basically he's learning a little bit how the Rancor imprints on the first person he sees, because he was wearing some blinders. He says that he wants to be able to ride this Rancor, has him take the blinders off. There's a little bit of like a underhanded whispering between Danny Trejo and the Rancor at the end, kind of like there was more planned. And then we get this moment where Boba goes back to check in with the mayor. The mayor's already dipped out. And the mayor's emissary guy, he's like, oh, I'm going to go get him. And then he bounces. And so this is where we get the Mighty Morphin Tatooine Rangers, because they have all these cool colored Vespa rascal scooter speeders that they use, which should be called slowers, because they did not move very quickly through the streets of Tatooine. They catch him, and he admits that the mayor was working with the Pikes, and then we see the Pikes landing on Tatooine with mad numbers. So basically, getting ready for war down here is what I believe the episode ended on. So
Yeah, pretty
very
much.
schizophrenic little rundown there.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to bring up is the moisture, the water moisture guy, whatever.
Moisture dealer.
He's played by Stephen Root,
Stephen Root.
who's a fan favorite if you grew up watching Office Space or Dodgeball. You know, a lot of these great comedic roles.
Dodgeball guy.
He can also play a real, sleazebag, as we saw in the
stealing my water.
Yeah, they stole my water. There's this meme that of Milton from Office Space, and then you see him Finnick Shan reaching in, leaning over, is like he said they stole a stapler. So
that's hilarious.
So as a small role, but great role by a fun actor. And one thing that that he tells them at the beginning of the episode when he's talking about the hoodlums is nobody respects Boba Fett. None of the other leaders, people in the city, they don't respect his rule, and so that really kind of raises his eye on that. So, no, I know this is probably rated as one of the lower rated episodes, but I still thought it was pretty good. I don't know. I want to hear what Ryan. I just want to hear what Ryan has to think.
Okay, the speeder chase. What was that? It's so slow. Like, I think I sent you guys the Seinfeld meme. I sent you guys that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like why is it so slow? Like, well, I just don't understand. It was just like it was boring. It didn't seem like an exciting chase, and they set it up like a super exciting chase.
I'm trying to think of another situation where we've seen speeders going faster through such tight quarters. Because I know we've seen speeders like on the outskirts of town or outside of town. I mean, like when Luke pulls in to Mos Eisley, he's not going, or Obi-Wan, whoever's driving, they're not going that fast. And I know there were stormtroopers there and stuff. I'm not really trying to excuse it because it did seem outrageously slow, and combined with the fact that they're scooters, it made them look like rascal scooters. I felt like I was trying to make my way to Splash Mountain from Pirates of the Caribbean with a bunch of scooters in front of me.
Yeah,
you know?
and like I sent you guys that picture of Boba from The Mandalorian. It's like, what happened to that Boba? Like, why did he just... Like, I know that he wasn't in the speeding chase, but just like this whole show. It's like...
So I'm still unclear on the timeline, and I think I wanted to bring it up in the next part.
Okay. We can do that. We'll bring it back up. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Just the flashbacks, like, we know what has happened. Like, leading, like, up to, like, this. I know I'm jumping to episode 4 a little bit. But, like, the whole thing with Fennec, like, we know he saved her. She's already told us. Why are they showing, like, why can't we see something new? Like, we already know.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Everything's just fresh from episode 4, so.
No,
I don't know. I just have more to talk about episode 4, but.
Okay. Well, yeah, we won't pass too much on this one. One thing I will bring up about this is, like, between this and The Mandalorian, we don't know who the directors usually are until the end of the episode where it says who they are.
I was trying to pull up.
Oh, so I know who it is.
Okay,
on this one, because it's pretty obvious. So it's obvious with a certain cameo that we get, but even before that, even before that though, once we saw that, once I got a look at all the cyber teens, the cyberpunks, with all their parts, I was like, oh, this is a Robert Rodriguez episode. So I was thinking Alita, Spy Kids, even Rose McGowan with a machine gun leg. I'm like, this is totally a Robert Rodriguez episode. And then once we get Danny Trejo as a Rancor Wrangler, I'm like, okay. And of course that was confirmation, but
that's the tip right there.
Yeah.
So this is the second episode he's done, right? He did episode 1 and 3.
Yes.
Thus far.
He's not doing any more, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm not sure because I heard he was doing 3, but then, yeah, I don't know. But
Jon Favreau hasn't directed any yet, has he?
No.
That's why none of them have been good.
Well, I know he wrote episode 4. I'll bring that up when we talk about that. But
Jon Favreau.
yeah.
He's wrote them all.
Oh, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's written all the episodes, and the only episode I believe he hasn't written is episode 6, and that one's written by David Filoni.
Hey, that's exciting. Bless you.
Yeah. So, and sorry for our listeners, or I'm dealing with a illness right now, so I'm trying to mute my coughs, but can't get them all. So,
Hey, we're feeling icky, but we're still bringing the content because we're still watching it with all you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. But that pretty much is it for this episode. It was a good episode, but we've already moved on to the next one, like mentally, I guess. So
yeah, because it's been 2 weeks since that one, and this one, at least for two of us, had us very excited.
Yeah. So, but first of all, before we get to chapter 4, so Ryan, have you not been on board on the show at all since? Or
not really. Like I don't like the flashbacks, and starting like it's just it's more episode 4 stuff. But I wish either they did it in chronological order, and just did episode 1 and 2. Okay, we're here now. Like we started here, Sarlacc Pit. Now we're here. I don't like the back and forths because the back, like when you flashback, it's like, okay, I know he's not gonna die. There's no threat. I know he's fine because he makes it to the future. But then so I want to get to the future stuff, and then the future stuff's like the slow speeder chase, and I'm just bored. So I hope something happens. Like I hope they drop Han or something in the next episode, or Mace, or I forget the blue guy's name.
Cad Bane.
Yeah, I think I know. It's a spoiler, obviously, right? Like I know we'll get Mando or one of the the heavy Mando or someone.
Yeah, that's episode 4.
Yeah, but I think they just gotta do something.
Yeah, so I guess getting to chapter 4, the Gathering of the Storm, and I forgot chapter 3 was called The Streets of Mos Espa. So terrible job on my part. My bad. So this one starts off obviously with another Bantha Tank, Ryan's favorite, another flashback, but we actually kind of time jump on this flashback, and we kind of, like you said, we see where he finds Fennec, and or was it before that?
No, it starts in that, and we get what I like to call the me and my Bantha portion of the episode.
Me and my pet Bantha.
Which some people had a problem with. I thought it was cool, kind of getting that up close and like not like, ooh, cool, but just that they spent a little more time with it. And we got, because one of the things I enjoyed about this episode was some of the quotables, and what I think will be the best or worst way to ever break up with somebody, depending who you are in the situation. Go find another Bantha. Make baby Banthas. I love
that was great. So, but we see him actually riding the Bantha up to Jabba's palace, and where he wants to get his ship, but realizes there's way too many guards for just him to deal with. So then he's like, no, another day. But then later on, while they're roasting and he's even feeding the Bantha, he sees a couple blasts from far away, and basically in the flashback, then that's where we find Fennec, left for dead. Finds her, takes her to the cyberpunk people, and
cameo by Thundercat, who's a known musician, bass player. Yeah, that was a cool cameo.
I had no idea. Cool.
I saw it on Twitter after, but I didn't know who it was at the time.
All right, on. So yeah, we see that. Then so basically, the flashback is just them, kind of getting closer, she heals up and then she helps him get his shit back. Cool scene. We'll talk. Like I said, we'll talk about the scenes. I don't want to give too much details of the stuff, but she gets the shit back, and he pretty much sets her free. That her debt is paid, but she's like, "Nah, I'll hang out with you. I like what you're doing." And then that's pretty much. I'll talk about the scene in a little bit, but then it goes back to the present day.
Exits the about to tank.
About to take again.
Which should be for the last. I'm sorry, I'll let you.
Yes. So and even the droid says, "Congratulations, you're 100% healed." So he should be done. So like you said, this should be the end of the flashbacks.
Yeah.
And but then they start getting ready to meet up with the other leaders and everything, and that's where we're at. So a lot of stuff happens this episode. But I kind of want to go.
Happens.
Yes, but I want to go back to the flashback real quick because the scene of the Slave One,
it's
chasing down the
speeder now.
Yeah, shut up. It's a Slave One.
I think I heard in the other podcast they gave it a new name. It's like fire thrower or something. I don't know. I didn't hear it in the show.
Yeah, I didn't hear it at all. But I mean, seeing that just mow down the riders was pretty badass. I don't know. I thought it was cool.
I thought first of all, I thought the Sarlacc was already dead when he used the flamethrower to get out. But the fact that he killed it with a sonic blast, that was like I don't know, like Celebrity Deathmatch Star Wars edition. Like, how would you kill some random Star Wars creature? So that was cool. Like, I would have never picked it out, but we all love that and know that sound. That boom.
Yeah. Especially seeing it with the sand and even seeing the sail barge kind of sink a little bit more because of it. So yeah, that whole scene, I mean, of the reason I thought was dumb. But just the visual of seeing it bow down into the Sarlacc was cool. Then seeing the beak again was pretty cool. Then just that intensity. But then Boba knowing, there's a bunch of acid and stuff in there, still goes down there with just his robes to get his armor. I don't know. I guess he was he got knocked silly, so he didn't remember that they were actually jacked by the Jawas. So,
which brings us back to what he was in the bath to tank for. The whole thing that I think we spoke about when we started doing this is how does he go from kicking butt in The Mandalorian to basically being feeble and needing all this help in this? And what I was mentioning earlier, which I just started kind of talking about with Addie, is what if all of this that we've seen basically takes place before Fennec and Boba meet Grogu and the Mandalorian?
The flashback when he's in
everything we've seen, everything that's going on Tatooine, like him taking out Bib Fortuna, all that happened before
it's not
meeting Mandalorian
because he doesn't have his armor.
He gets his armor after he meets Mando.
But he's still talking about his armor, right? He went back in for the armor. So like the armor that he had, maybe it's like just a fake knockoff armor.
No, it's his dad's. It's the same armor.
I would like to think that
the repainted armor that he's wearing in the current day in this show.
Yeah, it's the same armor because after he gets it on that episode where he gets it from the Razor Crest, then the next episode it's repainted.
In Mandalorian.
In the Mandalorian, yeah.
I'd like to think your way because it would explain why he's been such a little bee on the show and not fighting anyone.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest plot hole is his abilities over the course of what we've seen him thus far. Like, and that was just kind of something I came up with today. I was like, well, that would kind of explain some of it, but it still leaves me wondering about other stuff.
Yeah, it's just like going into the show, I was like, I'm about to watch 7 episodes of Boba Fett kicking ass. He hasn't kicked anyone's ass.
You're bad. I mean, let's be honest. What did Boba Fett really do ever anyway, other than look cool and people be excited about him?
Yeah, but they like the way they had him in The Mandalorian.
Okay,
Like-
that was the coolest thing Boba Fett ever did, and I said that then too.
Yeah. So
And I still agree that like why could he fight like that then and not now? But I think and this is something other podcasts have said, and just on the internet in general, we need to remember we're watching a children's show. So trying to go and poke holes in a story that is basically for the YA audience is not what the thing was built to be done. It's just
I don't know. I don't like the Star Wars for children thing, especially on these shows that are made for adults. I think.
I mean,
I get it.
The fan service, the callbacks, the Easter eggs, definitely for adults.
But speaking of badass, though,
sorry.
I mean, we get to the sanctuary and we see Black Chrysanthemum chilling, drinking, and staring at these Trandoshians, just having a ball.
Who, for
and
those
not very
that don't know, were the people that enslaved the Wookiees on Kashyyyk, Trandoshan.
Yes, exactly. And they were the Trandoshan's known Wookiee slavers, and not really liking it. And the more he drinks, the more he gets mad. Then the more he gets mad, the more he drinks, until he finally decides to ruin their party, and has a great scene.
I see Debo in him so much.
Nice.
He's Wookiee Debo.
Yeah. He just slays these Trandoshans, just a mess. And the look on the one that knocks him in the back with like a cup or something, just that look is classic. One of the funniest things I've ever seen. And then we get more all this as Mando's walking in, but then Garso Whip, the
Mando.
That's what
Jennifer
I meant.
Beals.
Yeah,
right.
It's okay.
Yeah, but Garso Whip, Jennifer Beals, headmistress, kind of calms down. Black Chrysanthemum talks about his past and the glory of the gladiator ring, but now nobody remembers it because it's so long ago. But
that part right there, you know what I was thinking of? The part in I want to say it's This Is 40, where they try and go out to the club and Craig Robinson's the bouncer and he's explaining to her, yeah, you're still hot, but you're old,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. That was Knocked Up. Yeah.
Knocked Up. Thank you.
Yeah. So, but then she pretty much calms him down, wipes his debt, just as long as he lets him go. And he lets him go, but rips the arm off and walks away, still pays his drink, and has a nice little head nod away from Boba.
That was so badass. Sorry for my French there, but he basically said he listened to everything she said, and he's like, I'm gonna pay my tab and do what I was gonna do anyway. I don't care about you for giving me my tab.
Yeah, and I love Boba. Is like, oh, it was worth a try.
Yeah. Hey, he's looking for some work, buddy.
Yeah. So now he pretty much hires Black Chrysanthemum now. After that was pretty.
The forming of a crew.
Yeah, and and then what do we get after that? Pretty much the speaking with all the houses, basically.
Which was another cool scene. The way it went wasn't how I expected it would, but that was such a cool power play, putting the table over the Rancor pit.
Yeah. Oh my god, I didn't even realize that until
that was like Godfather status right there.
Yeah, because that was like perfect timing too. When they're like, "And what if we don't agree with you?" Then, right? And seeing the claws, and oh man, we're going to see some Rancor action. I know it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you don't.
I hope so. We only got like 3 episodes left.
Sorry,
I said I hope so. We only have like 3 episodes left for something cool to happen.
I mean, cool things have happened, and I think only cooler things are to come. There were some other little things earlier on when they went into Jabba's palace to steal or reclaim a slave one, as it will always be called to me. The kitchen scene, which I know a lot of people didn't like. And I think to that end, something I heard on another podcast today is I think they're fleshing out a lot of stuff that we didn't need fleshed out, is kind of what Ryan's saying as well. It's like you're telling us stuff that we either already knew or could have assumed coming into it.
Yeah.
And I get that. I guess just riding the hype of Boba Fett, which is why I brought up the point of like, what has he really done to this point anyway? They're kind of just wanting to give you the full story of, all right, we brought this dude back from the dead that you love so much, so we're going to show you everything that happened up until then. And hopefully there's more reason for all the flashbacks and everything as we get to the finale. But the thing that I really enjoyed was going into the kitchen, what I called the the slave driver droid from Return of the Jedi, who is talking down on R2-D2. Oh, you're a feisty one, aren't you? You'll soon learn some respect. He comes in and gets offed immediately. So I felt a little long-term vindication when that happened. And then we got like General Grievous Knives droid, which I think would have been a nice guy to have in your kitchen, but not somebody I'd want to fight.
Yeah.
And then the droid that he couldn't catch for 5 minutes.
Yeah, the little, I guess they call him a rat catcher droid.
Just like shoot him. Isn't he like the greatest bounty hunter? Just don't even look and just pew. He did that to stormtroopers.
He comes back in the end when they're having that meeting with all the bosses. So now he's part of the gang too. And he kind of reminds me of, he looks like a little droid from Clone Wars. I want to say it was the one who was working with Cad Bane at one point. I can't remember his name. Not the same guy, but he looks like the same type of droid.
That droid's been seen in the animated before, for sure. Yeah.
And I'm sure we mentioned it earlier on, but the card dealer is a Rex type droid. But I presume not the same Rex, but yeah. And then what else? Black Chrysanthemum thing was dope. The Rancor thing, and then of course you mentioned it talking about the synopsis, but we get in the flashback Boba sitting with his bantha and seeing those flares. And when you see the flares, we get that little bit of the Mandalorian score. Ooh, just to remind us that this is that moment during the Mandalorian episode when Mandalorian and that young punk wannabe bounty hunter kid were using the flares to escape the shot of Fennec Shand.
Yeah.
So that was cool getting that part of the score.
We also get the score even heavier at the end when Fennec is talking about bringing in some extra muscle.
And that was another thing that led me to believe that this was potentially before they had met, because Boba hadn't brought him up at all and seemed kind of clueless when Fennec, well, I guess she doesn't really bring it up. She just says extra muscle. And there's kind of like I know a guy point. And that's when you hear that.
Well, I think she's not nudging to him like who to
call,
who to call, and then we get the heavy Mando themes.
Mando knows Grogu, knows Luke Skywalker,
knows Han, knows Chewie, knows Leia, knows
get Ben. The whole gang. I've heard so much of this Han rumor, and I hope it doesn't happen.
Why?
Yeah, me neither.
I'm not on the de-aging hype. I guess if used extra sparingly, it could be cool. I just don't know what Han brings to the table without Chewie and Luke and everything else other than a couple of jokes and one-liners,
Oh, so I heard a lot that it might be Han, Luke, Leia to finally give us the three of them on the screen that we should have gotten during the three movies.
No, don't do
I don't know if this is the place for that though.
Yeah, do it in animated if you have to, because that's what it is basically.
No, I mean they could do it on a show, but to do it on a show not about them, I don't know. We do deserve that. I do agree with that, but not. I don't think it should just be thrown anywhere. So.
It just kind of goes to your point of how this show hasn't landed well, and to my point of what has Boba Fett done anyway. I keep seeing the flashbacks of Camino and him as a kid. And I feel like there should be more connection to that. Like, rather than him just really wanting his armor because he fights better with it, he should be talking about how it was his father's the same way he did in Mandalorian and everything. There's not really that emphasis on the lineage and the history.
Well, hopefully we'll we'll get a little bit more of that because he does eventually find out Cobb Vanth does have his armor. So, because he mentions it to Mando in season 2 when he's like, he was chasing him. So, I know this, the show's been one of those love it or hate it so far. I think it's a well-written show and the buildup has been really good and I really dig it. So, and I like where it's going, especially the way it ended this week's. So,
I mean, I expect to see the Mandalorian in the next episode.
I'd expect to see him at least by the second to last. I mean, we'll
There's
see.
3 more episodes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says 7 on IMDb.
So I expect to see him soon, and I hope to see him more than one episode. So we'll see.
The only reason I wouldn't expect to see him in the next one is if, like I said, this took place in a time frame before they met.
Yeah,
You guys seem to think that that's not true because of the armor. I guess I'd have to go back and watch again, but I feel like the armor. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I'm just trying to make it right.
Yeah, everything that's not a flashback is post him meeting Mando.
Oh, another thing I noticed when he got out of the Bacta tank, this was the first time he let himself out of the Bacta tank.
Yeah.
Kind of like a little thing, in each one he's gaining more strength, and this time he's like, let me out of here. I'm ready to go.
And then he didn't do anything.
I mean, there was nothing really to do.
Ryan is like the hardest Star Wars fan to please.
Even one scene, even when he was like fighting the in the first episode, the red people, I forget the ninjas, like when he kicked their ass. He did it like
because he
a
was
few months ago when he was with Mando. He took all those stormtroopers.
He did disintegrate one.
That just goes to play at how bad stormtroopers are at fighting.
Yeah, but like he's supposed to be like the best bounty hunter in the galaxy.
I know, but again, this goes back to what has he done really?
Beat up all the stormtroopers.
Like he didn't even catch Han Solo. Darth Vader did that.
True.
Like all he has done is show up and look cool. Greedo is more bad than Boba Fett.
You take that back, sir. You take that back.
Solo in a bar. I can say badass.
No,
Greedo is more badass than Boba Fett. I'll put it on print.
Oh my god!
I love the show. I love Boba Fett. I'm just saying. I think we're holding him in much too high of a regard right now.
Whose fault is that? Is that our fault, or is that Disney's fault for making a whole show about him?
What'd you say?
So is that like our fault for just creating that mystique about him, or is it like Disney's fault for showing us that what he can do in Mando and then not doing anything in his actual own show?
I mean, I think Disney should be delivering more based on the hype, but at the same time, I don't know. It's if you look at what is actually put on film or on screen, he hasn't really done much. He went to catch Han Solo. Darth Vader caught Han Solo, gave him to him to bring to Jabba. He stood in the corner at Jabba's a couple times, and then he got ate by a Sarlacc. Like the coolest thing he ever did was beat up those stormtroopers. And then we talk about this love that we as the viewers have with Boba Fett over the years, and it was kind of like it's almost like this is a tribute to Jeremy Bulloch and the legacy of Boba Fett. I hope they deliver more in the last 3 episodes? Yeah. I'm just saying I appreciate the show more for the whole thing rather than Boba Fett. Like on the other podcast that I keep referring to, Boba Fett's not even one of their top 5 favorite characters in the show.
I can see that.
Yeah.
If he's in the top 5 for me, it's 4 or 5. Fennec Shand, I'm hoping we get more of her going forward. And I know we talked about that in an earlier episode, the potential of Fennec carrying on like the Boba Fett mantle or like the badass bounty hunter mantle, something like that.
I think
But
someone has to
I don't know.
die.
I don't hate Boba Fett. I guess I just feel that, you know, it may not be a kid's show, but ultimately Star Wars was created for, you know, people who have imagination. And as adults, we still have imagination, but we also have a lot of logic. And so we come and we poke these holes in plot when I think the space is there to be left to just be like, oh, I wonder what it is. I wonder if it's this. I wonder if it's that. And to Ryan's point, a lot of that wonder is taken out of this show because they're putting on film everything that we could have just assumed happened with Boba Fett and Fennec Shand since we last saw them.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Now that we're at a current space, hopefully going forward, it resonates better with everybody.
Yeah. And I think this is a good spot to end because we keep going on a further tangent and I think we're done. So
I could go worse than badass.
Well, I don't care about that. I was just saying don't say Greedo is badder than Boba Fett. That was my thing.
I mean, he had the balls to show up to him in the bar.
We're because he's an idiot. But we'll end it here. We'll hopefully we'll have another great episode next week. And you know, thanks for listening and let us know what you guys think. And we'll catch you on the next flip side or whatever. I don't know.
We'll catch you on the other side of the Bacta tank.
Yes. Yeah, have a good night, guys. Thanks.
Healed outside, not healed inside.
Ooh.